Okay, welcome to another long-delayed pod bite from Emporium. And good afternoon, as it stands at the moment. Good afternoon, Philip.
Hello, great to be here, Rob. We've got absolutely nothing to talk about because it's been a very slow few months of news when it comes to Doctor Who, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right, so let's jump back because we haven't done one of these for a few months. Let's jump back to Easter when we did actually have Jodie's penultimate episode, The Legend of the Sea Devils.
Indeed. Which, even though we didn't record at the time, I think we both enjoyed.
Yeah, it was good bank holiday fare, I think. You know, just as they used to put out these compilations of like the Sea Devils on bank holidays in the 70s. It was a good romp to have on a bank holiday, I thought.
Yeah, I think that maybe the culture of expectation that comes with Doctor Who fandom might have done it a disservice, really. I think there was a lot of people that were really clamouring for this to be a big one that feeds into the overall arc, because there is only one Jodie Whittaker special left after this. But on its own terms, I thought it was fine.
Yes, I did. You've kind of got to make it kind of full of adventure. If you're going to grab a bank holiday audience, you've got to make it visual, full of adventure. You know, not too deep. I know, and we kind of got that. And Jodie and Mandeep Gill were excellent. I thought John Bishop didn't have a tremendous amount to do, but certainly the focus was on the Thasmin, I think you call it now. So yeah, I was really happy with it, and absolutely wonderful to see the classic Sea Devils back for the first time since 2005 when the new series started. And I think it was nearly 40 years since their last appearance, 37 years or something, when they appeared in Warriors of the Deep. And only to appear, this was only their third appearance on screen. So, you know, they've really made their mark in just basically 3 stories.
And it was very amusing because the term Sea Devils, they've never identified themselves as the Sea Devils.
No.
So I rewatched the original Sea Devils recently, and that's how other people describe them. Then you've got Warriors of the Deep, which throws a bit of a spanner into the works because you have a Silurian that says, "When we revive our Sea Devil cousins," and then in this one they did a nice little a little reference because I think the Doctor calls them a Sea Devil, and they call us land something or other. They call us a slur as land dwellers or something.
Land
like
dwellers,
that.
something like that. Yeah.
So I thought it was nicely skirted round. So they got the term Sea Devil in there, and for those people that don't own the Doctor Who monster book and have never seen a Sea Devil before, they know what they're called, but actually it's not the name of the race.
And remarkably faithful to John Friedlander's original design, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show that it's actually quite an enduring design, and sometimes we like to mock, or other people like to mock Doctor Who monsters, but actually it was pretty intimidating, and it's stuck in people's minds, and all you really need is some CGI blinking eyes, and it's still an effective design, really.
Especially seeing as the Silurians had quite a different makeover when they brought them back, and weren't that faithful to the 1970s design. But this actually wasn't. You know, when it at the end of the Christmas one, when the Sea Devil loomed into view, there was no doubt about what it was. So very exciting to have them back.
I thought the cast, the supporting cast, Crystal Yu as Madam Ching was very good. I do think that perhaps it was this sort of in Doctor Who magazine. Chibnall talked about it being a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean, but the thing that made it different from Pirates of the Caribbean is there weren't many pirates, which I think was the COVID problem. It was this sort of swashbuckling romp, but there weren't actually many people on the ship. But I think you could probably chalk that up to COVID. When it was advertised originally, it was called a feature length, but it only ended up being the length, a 50-minute length of a normal episode. So I think there might have been some cuts that were made along the way. And from what I hear, this is the script that was slotted in. There was always going to be 8. There was originally going to be 7 specials, and then there was going to be an 8th one, and basically the finale, Jodie's final episode, was shunted to October, and this was a script that was already knocking around the office, and then they inserted the Sea Devils into it.
Well, I'm glad they did, because I quite enjoyed it. I know, within the wider fandom, they've kind of pulled it apart on very many levels, but I think you've got to go in with the attitude of what is your general bank holiday viewer going to think of it, and I pretty much think they would have enjoyed it. However, the overnight ratings were pretty poor, weren't they?
Yeah.
But then again, TV ratings full stop are getting poorer and poorer, because we watch on demand, and there's that much out there now for our attention. So it is a fight. It is a fight.
Yeah, and they were low quite across the board for the entire evening of that bank holiday Sunday. As far as fans criticizing it, I love making comparisons and looking at lists. This year is exactly the same as 2000, or almost the same, one episode less, as 2009, which was David Tennant's final year, where you had a festive special, which was The Next Doctor, Planet of the Dead, and then you had The Waters of Mars, and it's in a similar kind of spacing. I think Legend of the Sea Devils is much better than Planet of the Dead, so I would just say that
I would say so.
Slight and inconsequential. I don't think I've watched Planet of the Dead in about 7 or 8 years, and I'm not really going to rush to watch it again, but I think Legend of the Sea Devils will be in rotation for a while. I'm waiting for the Blu-ray, because I'm a sad fan who likes things on a shelf to look at, but when that arrives later on this month, I'm going to watch either the Daleks and Legend of the Sea Devils again.
Yes, good. And I'm going to revisit it as well in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Which brings us on, I suppose, to the biggest news of all, which is we have our 14th Doctor in Nakushigatwa, which came as a pretty out of the blue, low key announcement. But I tend to think that maybe there was news of a leak somewhere, and they had to rush it out before somebody else did.
Yeah, or maybe it was down to because Shooty, which is how Lizo Mazimba pronounced it. Thank you very much for letting us all know that. So Shooty was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the BAFTAs that evening. So I did wonder if this was Russell's plan, because he also got a free photo shoot out of it, because within an hour of him appearing on the BAFTA red carpet, there was like a new publicity photograph which was out there. So I wonder if maybe that was it, to sort of get the maximum amount of press, of column inches, and they were able and they were able to insert it into into the script of the host of the BAFTAs was able to make a joke about it. But yeah, it was a very, as you say, it was very low key. It was a complete left field surprise. I don't think that his name was in the mix at all. And after the pomp and circumstance of Peter Capaldi's announcement and Jodie, it was quite nice to just get this back to basics approach to it.
And I don't really think they really wanted to overshadow the fact that Jodie's still got a major 90-minute finale to go.
Well, Russell is. I mean, I think the changing of the guard has already happened at BBC. Whoever runs the social media accounts, because suddenly the social media accounts have got a much better sense of humour, and Russell is doing a much better job of Chibnall promoting the centenary special, because on the red carpet he was like, yeah, we've got, but before the new Doctor starts, we've also got Chris Chibnall's wonderful centenary special, which is going to be 90 minutes. And it's like, we didn't actually know that, Russell, and it's going to be shown in October. Marvelous. And so he's actually plugging the centenary, perhaps
primed by Chibnall himself. You would have thought, so that's great. We've got so much to look forward to, and I'm really happy with the choice of the Doctor, because he is a really good actor. I mean, I don't really know his work, because he has made programs for The Youth, and I'm not The Youth, but I was scurrying to Sex Education, Netflix's Sex Education, which you've been told me to watch for months, and I'm going, oh yeah, I'll get round to that. And then suddenly, because I know there's a Doctor Who in it, new Doctor Who, I thought, I better watch this, and I'm really enjoying his performance. It's a very multi-layered performance, and you could tell he's got charisma, and he's a really good actor. So I mean, that's my only proviso with playing the Doctor. It doesn't, sex and gender and race don't matter, but are they a good actor? And if they're a good actor, I welcome them with open arms.
It's a show that is watched globally. It always makes I mean, Netflix never released their statistics about who watches what, but it's always in the top 10 whenever there's a new series of Sex Education. And it's the reactions I saw on Twitter from younger people that have perhaps drifted from Doctor Who. I think it's just a really, really smart move. And the more I thought about it during that day, I was like, it's really clever, because I think he will bring in new and younger viewers. But then he's also not that young, because he's 28. So for me, he's the first Doctor where I'm older than the Doctor, but he's still older than Matt Smith and Peter Davison when they were cast. But it's just a smart move. There's a lot of buzz, but also he's on the rise, so you'll get a few years out of him as well. It's not like he's going to do one series and go.
We know it's 3 years and out now, so that seems to be the set thing.
So the rumours are that so Shooty's is committed to a fourth series of Sex Education, which is shooting in the autumn.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was going to be a fourth.
Yeah, in November time. The rumours are that there's going to be some shooting over the summer for whatever the 60th is. He'll take a break, go back to Sex Education, and then the shooting will start in earnest for the next series of the first full series of Doctor Who in 2023. As I understand it, all speculative. He's also we'll also be seeing a lot more of him on our screens promoting the Barbie movie. You might remember they did a Lego movie a few years ago. Now they're doing a Barbie movie with Margot Robbie as the titular character. It's probably only a small part, but he's also doing a new series for Steven Spielberg about World War II airmen.
He's very busy, isn't he?
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of. So I mean, if you actually look at his CV, there's not that much, and this is a really big year for Ncuti Gatwa, even before he becomes Doctor Who. He's starting to get that Hollywood attention, which is what you get from a big high-profile Netflix series. So Russell T Davies, we knew he was clever, and he's just reinforced it with this casting. So I think it's going to be great. And he's probably the most jacked of all the Doctors, because I went on his Instagram page and there's a lot of shirtless pictures. And unless Colin was hiding a six-pack that we didn't know about under that multicolored coat,
six-pack of bloody lagers, probably. Look at this, my screen here. What's all the black bits? I'm being attacked by the flux, by all these black bits. What's going on there?
You're phasing in and out of the space-time continuum.
Yeah. So what's a time bridge for? A crossing. So cross it. That's my role here.
Yeah. Being the irascible old so-and-so that keeps shouting. Yeah. At least you know your place. We're also looking at next year. So we're looking at this 60th special, and nobody knows what that is. There's this rumor that's growing legs that there's going to be three episodes next year, but that could all be nonsense. I've reminded myself recently of some of the stuff that Russell has said in the past about multi-Doctor stories. I think I would be very surprised if we get any old Doctors for the 60th anniversary. I think it would be too backwards looking, and he wants to make a big splash reintroducing the new Doctor. But
to be honest, it was only 10 years ago Matt Smith and David Tennant teamed up, and it would feel like less of an event, wouldn't it? This time.
And I'm really looking forward to, before we wish away the year, I'm really looking forward to the centenary special, because I think Chibnall has got some fan service.
Yes, there are all sorts of rumours about who literally may be appearing, but I would like it to be a surprise, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm past all that geekery fannery of wanting to know everything in advance. I'm all about the surprises now.
I think what we know is just enough, and probably the first time in this era where it's been perfectly calibrated. That trailer where we've got Tegan and Ace coming back, and they both look amazing, and that I think that's enough. That's enough to bring us back in. I'm sure there's going to be other surprises. I think the Fugitive Doctor's got to be a given, because it's the end of Chibnall's era, so he's got to wrap up that timeless child thing. And I watched that episode again recently, time and again, episode 3 of Flux, and there's so many lingering questions from that. So that's a given. And I mean, if it was up to me, this is my pitch, I would have Jodie's Doctor. She discovers something that she did that was terrible for the division, and is doubting herself. And then in her sort of, while she's regenerating, she's visited by faces of Doctors past who remind her who she is. She is the Doctor, and then she goes into the glowing light and is reborn as Ncuti Gatwa. That would be my pitch.
So it's a bit like a Christmas Carol.
Yeah. I think we're assuming that the new Doctor is going to appear at the end of the centenary, but that
not a given, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, it could end up that she goes off into the sunset with Yaz, and and into sapphic bliss, and then that could be it. That could be the last time you see the 13th Doctor, and the next time you see the Doctor, they look like Ncuti Gatwa. So.
Possible.
And disappeared, so
again, more surprises to come, and I love surprises.
So what about merch? Should we talk
about
merch?
Well, let's talk about merch, because I think towards the beginning of the year they announced 2 DVD Blu-rays. One was the animation, which was The Abominable Snowmen, and the other was the season 22 Blu-ray box set, and we all went on to our online sites and we pre-ordered, and where the bloody hell are they? We've not even got set dates for either of them now, which is bloody annoying. But I'm going to go through a few of the things that season 22 Blu-ray is offering us. So it says if I can get my words
well,
out.
none of these. Well, let me just say that neither of these exist. It's all one elaborate hoax. So they just announce things, and then it whets the appetite, but they're never actually going to materialize. This is going to be like, in the old days they used to delete wipe episodes. Now they're wiping Blu-rays before they've even been released. So we'll just be talking about the season 22 Blu-ray release, and one day it might get released, but it's going to be at least 20 years before it comes out.
It'll be like the B&M character options, won't it? We've heard about them, but no fucker's ever seen one.
Yeah, I mean, this is how the old anticipation for Colin's first series. I mean, who'd have thought that the one we'd all be clamouring for would be...
Now, shut up. Let me tell you what is on it. We've got the making of documentary for the 2 Doctors. I thought we'd already had one, but apparently not.
No, that was just Gary Downey wandering around Spain.
And they're taking Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant back to season 22 locations. Okay. So a couple of jolly away days there. Mm-hmm. And now it says not one, but 3 insightful feature-length interviews with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and a surprise guest. Ooh, who can that be?
Michael Gray.
We've got more behind the sofas with Colin, Nicola, Terry Malloy, Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, Sarah Sutton, Sylvester McCoy, and Wendy Bradbury. So basically, Davison and Fielding taking the piss out of whatever's on screen. We've got extended episodes of Vengeance on Varos, The Two Doctors Part 1, and Revelation of the Daleks Part 1. Surprisingly, we've got a fix with the Sontarans, but I'm pretty certain they're going to really chop that so that it any frames with Savalin don't appear.
He just appears on the end on screen at the end, doesn't he? So it's
in the TARDIS, and then there's the Jim will fix it intro, and then he comes into the TARDIS, doesn't he? And so I'm thinking we'll get a pretty truncated version of a fix with the Sontarans.
Yeah, and there's an audio commentary on that as well, isn't there?
So
I think with Gareth, little Gareth is and Colin. I think.
Oh yeah, new audio commentaries. Yes. Then we've got Time Lash as the optional new effects. I didn't think they'd give it to Time Lash, but there you go. And an immersive 5.1 surround sounds. We've got studio footage, convention footage. The Colin Baker years comes to Blu-ray. Slip back, the Radio 4. There's so much. If only we had it.
Yeah. And do you know the one I in anticipation of us recording this episode, I went and had a look at what they were talking about on Gallifrey base. Do you know what they're stressing about? In America, they label them by doctors, so this will be the 6th Doctor series, season 1. That's how they're packaged. They've done it for Tom and this, so they're all stressing about the fact that these non-existent casual fans will be confused because the Twin Dilemma won't be on there. It's like, I think if you're inclined to buy a Doctor Who set on Blu-ray, a Colin Baker set no less, you're sort of already in the bag in the fan camp, and it won't take you very long to realise that that's in a different season. So just stop worrying.
And perhaps it's best not to include that one.
Yeah,
in this series.
Attack's a much better start, a much better introduction to the 6th Doctor here, right?
Yeah, much more stylish introduction to the 6th Doctor.
And I know I've just been taking the piss a bit, but I actually really I'm a fan of season 22. I have, despite my love of Colin Baker's Doctor, I have mixed feelings about his era because I really enjoy season 22. Have you seen this Flux thing's getting worse? I really enjoy season 22, but I don't like at all season 23, the trial season. So, this to me is the better season we're getting. Yeah. Despite all the protests about the violence that it contains. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame with this one because Colin gets another reason that Colin gets short thrift is that there aren't many film elements retained for any of his era. So whereas Davison, who's the previous Doctor, and you would think there'd be less, he's got Visitation, Black Orchid, 5 Doctors, where they've retained the film elements for this. I was reading that they haven't got the film for 2 Doctors or Attack of the Cybermen, so a lot of that location footage it'll be clean. That's a shame. It won't be as clean as it could be because they haven't got the original elements, but it sounds like it's going to be a great package with lots of different features, and I really enjoy immersing myself in that world. I tend to watch the series and then I'll watch the serial and then I'll watch the accompanying documentaries for each, and you always learn something new.
Yes, they're good to to dip into, I think. I mean, not I wouldn't really put one of the Blu-ray sets on from start to finish and watch everything. But these things are, because there's so much on them, you can just get them down from the shelf and think, what haven't I watched on this? And over the months, and that's the way I approach it. Although I do appreciate that some fans have to devour it, kind of 90 hours of footage all in one go. Yeah. I'm not that kind of fan anymore.
I mean, I was impressed. Not that I would ever sit through the whole thing, but I think there is the space on Blu-ray, so I'm glad that they did it. Like on the Sylvester McCoy set for season 24, they got hours and hours of studio footage of from standby and from the gallery, of just in between takes. And because they got the space, they put it on there, and I thought that was great because some fans will really be into it. I watched about 10 minutes of it, and it was, and that was enough. I got a taste of it.
Yeah.
But there's only so many camera setups that you can watch. But that's the great thing about these Blu-rays is they're the final statement on classic Doctor Who. So everything in the kitchen sink, all the features that they said weren't possible on DVD, are now materializing on Blu-ray. So just slower thanks to COVID and supply chain issues and all of that business.
Indeed. So when we get them, we will talk about them. And I'm equally as excited for the Abominable Snowmen animation because that's a story I don't know particularly well. I kind of know an overview of it, but really I don't know the detail of it. So I'm very interested in seeing that.
And it'll be a great companion piece to the Web of Fear. I mean, just go back to when you were first becoming a fan, or in the 90s, where we didn't have any Yeti, and now we've got one almost recovered full story, and we've got another one that's been completed by animation. So you can do a Yeti season and watch both stories, which is great.
Absolutely. So, this meeting end. Oh, what's all that about? Can you see that on your screen? Never mind. So, yeah, there's plenty to talk about, and we will in future. I think we've rabbited on long enough for now, but so as soon as we have some Blu-rays or DVDs, we'll be back to talk about them more in depth. And of course, we are racing towards October. We're entering the summer, and it won't be too long before that occurs. And I shall be quite sad to see Jodie go, I have to admit, because whilst the era has had its ups and downs, I mean, she has always been spot on the money for me.
Yeah.
So I shall be really sad to see her go, and yet excited because the Russell T Davies 2 era is starting. So there's such a lot to be a fan for at the moment.
Yeah. So in the intervening months, when Doctor Who isn't on the air, is there anything that you've been watching and enjoying and you can recommend to our viewers?
Well, I mean, like you, I've got limited time, so I can't take in hundreds of series, but I have been watching Superman and Lois, which it bloody annoys me because they keep having gap between episodes. Why can't they show one after the other? Because you lose the thread of it. If there's a 3-week gap between episodes, you're just kind of losing the momentum. So that's a slight frustration, but it has been excellent quality. And I'm just, as is everybody, starting with Star Trek New Worlds. Strange New Worlds. And I'm very optimistic for that because, it's developing its own narrative and, its own style, but yet still very heavily rooted in the original Star Trek setup. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's taking the right, learning the right lessons from the 60s series. That when Enterprise did that in the early 2000s, it sort of took this 60s conservatism, and there was a bit of like sexism of like bringing green dancing girls back, and that wasn't why people liked the classic Star Trek. This is very much, it's through a modern lens, but at the same time, it's doing that thing of exploring strange new worlds, and it's very self-contained episodes going to a new planet every week, and it just brings back, I think, the wonder of space travel. And Anson Mount as Captain Pike is dreamy. You know, he's a dreamboat. He's proper matinee idol leading man. So very much recommend that. And the problems that we've had with Discovery and Picard, where things sag a bit in the middle, aren't going to be an issue because it's a new story every week. So fully recommend Strange New Worlds. Yeah,
me too. So on that note of optimism on the Enterprise, let's bid adieu for now, and we'll be back as soon as we've got something to talk about. Yeah. So take care for now.
I'm setting my coordinates now.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye.